Well, hello, welcome to the Artemis Defense Institute. My name is Stephen Lieberman, and in this video, we're going to be talking about range bags. Now, for those of you who have already looked at a number of our videos that were designed for new gun owners, you should already know that each one of our videos, we start with the exact same admonition. We're going to treat all guns as though they are always loaded. We're never going to let the muzzle cover or point at anything that we're not prepared to destroy. We're going to keep our finger off the trigger unless our sights are on target and we've made the decision to shoot. And lastly, we're going to know our target and its environment. Now, with all that being said, we got to get our guns actually to the range. Now, some of us carry guns, and when we go to a range, there's a real possibility we may physically have our guns on our bodies. When we do that type of activity, we're going to want to talk to the range personnel and kind of see how they want us to deal with things. A lot of ranges are very uncomfortable with people drawing their guns out of the holster, even if it's in their own little bay if you're in an indoor range. Typically speaking, most people will carry their firearms from their home to the range or out to the desert or out where they shoot. They're going to do so in a shooting bag. The shooting bag does a couple of different things. Number one, obviously it's going to serve as a container to be able to transport your firearm, but it's also going to serve as some sort of carrying device for your ammunition, for all of your cleaning supplies, and if in my case, a whole bunch of other junk that I've accumulated over the years. Now, you can spend a bunch of money on range bags, okay? It's not particularly necessary. What you do want to get, though, is a decent quality bag. Now, let me preface this by saying any bag will do. A shopping bag, theoretically, will do. In fact, there are a lot of people that prefer to use just common backpacks because they don't want to call any attention to themselves or anything like that. A general kid's backpack, perfectly acceptable. Now, most bags, you're going to want to have some methodology of locking it up, some sort of, locking device, or you can use just a lock that you would put on luggage on the zippers of like a backpack. That's perfectly acceptable. Those of us that actually do have range bags, we look for certain things, certain bags that have a certain robustness to them. One of the bags that both myself as well as my daughter like to use is this larger bag from 511. Now, one of the reasons why we like these bags, honestly, number one is because of the sheer volume that they can contain, but also because they have these external pockets. Now, under California law, and this isn't the law in all states, but under California law, your firearm and your ammunition need to be in two separate containers. Now, it doesn't mean that they physically have to be in different locations. They simply mean that they can't be together. So a lot of gun bags, the firearm itself will stay in the main compartment that's usually locked through some sort of zipper mechanism or something like that. Your magazines, which you can have loaded, that's perfectly acceptable, go in the external portion of the bag. There's a separation, and that's what effectively makes it legal if you don't have a concealed weapons permit. Now, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people just throw them all together, not even realizing that that law exists. But generally speaking, we're going to want to have our ammunition as well as our firearms separated, even though they're necessarily in the same unit. We want them in different compartments of that unit. The type of system that my wife uses, she loves it. Primarily because I'm the one who normally carries it for her. This is one of the large range backpacks, and these are specifically designed for firearms. Now, as you can see, she's thrown all sorts of extra attachments. She's got her IFAK kit on the side and everything else. It's got the ability to have basically all of her cleaning supplies built in, but the really cool thing about this, and this is designed to carry 3 firearms, it's got this compartment down here where you would theoretically stick your firearms. Now, you don't just stick them in here. You actually have these sleeves that come with the unit. And you can put your firearms in these sleeves, and they just slide directly on into this area right here. It's really an efficient system. In fact, since it does have the backpack straps, it makes it a lot easier to use. Now, I'll tell you, I've had numerous range bags, and in fact, for some of my weapons, I've got dedicated bags because they require so much extra gear. Don't be surprised if you end up having more than 2 or 3 bags. It's a kind of like firearms, they tend to grow on you. But whatever you do, make sure that you get a bag that's functional, one that you can use on a regular basis, and isn't so heavy because you've loaded it with so much extra stuff that it effectively becomes useless. As always, train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and without any reservation, stay safe.